that book, is how he goes on to talk about we are now redefining what it means to be an animal, redefining what it means to be a human, and then he says something that's, because you have to understand he's a Christian and a conservative, so it's extraordinary for him to use language like this. Mm-hmm. He says what it means to become a superhuman, or even what it will mean to become a god, end quote. That's in the introduction to his book.
Well, I have a question. I have one. Okay, saying all of that, after they do all of this to us, do you think that it is an attempt to either eliminate or to create a soul?
Whoa, that's a great question.
Well, eliminate or create a soul.
Well, yes. Mm-hmm. Isn't that the very essence of what?
Maybe modify a soul too. You could put that in there.
Well, but see, if you're a believer, and you believe that God is the one who creates the soul, that He breathes into us life, and that He is the only one that can accomplish that. So much so they're Frankensteining us into, all of these things, but in essence, the underlying motive there, maybe they feel like they have to do all of that because they really want to get the soul. Either they want to eliminate it so they don't have to worry about it, or they want to create,
some kind of monster.
I don't know.
Well, the reason I hesitated when you said that is because on a couple of different levels, I think you've actually hit probably what is the most important question to ask, and actually partly why I've been motivated to study this subject, and I don't know how much time we have.
That was half five. Well, Tom, I tell you what, if you've got a lot of energy and a lot more to say, we can go longer. And the reason we kind of owe that to our listeners because we had some technical difficulties. So at least a portion of what you said they may not have heard.
Well, I know we're running out of time, but I mean, if we've got at least a few more minutes, I'd really like to address this question. And why what your wife has said here is so important, because as you know, I tie what's happening with biotechnology now and what could be problematic about it, and I don't want people to think that I'm a neo-Luddite. I'm not against technology. In fact, I've got an uncle right now that's dying with pancreatic cancer that I love dearly.
Yeah.
And I very much think that the future, if the world continues to spin, I think our research into genetic modification is going to lead to some cures to things like cancer that are going to be very good, and I'm very much looking forward to it. My problems with technology don't really evolve until we start talking about changing a human from being a human into something else. And that's where the red flags start going up, when we start talking about human-animal chimeras and transhumanism and all of that. Every medicine that we take is an attempt to alter what is occurring within us genetically. So it doesn't even matter if you're taking an aspirin or whatever it is. You're trying to do something that alters what is happening within you under the veil of what we call natural. But and so I personally don't have a problem with scientists who may be able to find out how to create some method to reprogram a cancerous tumor into killing itself instead of killing a human. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
And actually, I think this would be a great thing. It'll be a great day on Earth when we learn how to do certain things that can improve a human. Jesus healed people, and when he healed them, he obviously altered what was happening to them genetically, because they had a disease that was hurting them or was going to kill them. He made that stop happening. When we can get to the point where we can do the same thing without altering the human species into becoming something different than human, I think that'll be a great day. So I don't want people to think that I'm against science, because I'm not.
I'm just against mad scientists.
Go ahead.
I'm just against mad scientists.
Well, and you have reasons to be, because on the other hand, there is this record in history. You know this old saying about people who are damned to repeat what has happened in history when they can't learn from what I can't remember the quote exactly, but those who don't remember from the past are damned to repeat it.
Right.
You look at this. You look at this record in ancient history, and it's very clear what occurred. It's told in all the ancient texts. It's told in the Bible. It's told in outside the Bible. It's told in other ancient records. It's told in the pseudepigrapha. It's told in the apocryphal texts that there were these intelligences, these superintelligences, these scientists, if you will, who left heaven, came down to earth, and they began crossing over the species barrier. Plants, like genetically modified crops, humans, animals. I mean, even when you read the record in the book of Enoch, which is the most well-known of this record, go and read the 7th chapter of the book of Enoch, where it says they sinned against the animals as well as the humans.
Right.
So you have this record over and over again that this blending of species led to chaos. It led to chaos. And I tell people, regardless of your personal worldview, it doesn't matter if you're religious, atheist, secular, humanist, whatever, everything that's happening in biotechnology right now should be being viewed with attentiveness, especially in the faith community. And it's not to say, as I said a moment ago, that there might not be some benefits to humanity that come out of biotech, but that because we also are talking in some quarters now about the unnatural altering of living organisms, all of this science ought to be being considered slowly, but we're not doing it that way. We're racing forward with genetically modified crops, funding for transgenic animal-human embryos because we believe they're going to lead to new creations that will somehow open the door to better evolution of the species. And what most people don't realize is that even the FDA is allowing the producers of these products to do their own testing. You know that? And then they accept from these major corporations their own reports that these products are safe, and then the FDA reports them as being safe because. And if people go to your now, I'm going to get back on track here, but if people go to your website and they watch that film series, that lecture that I gave at Roswell, I don't know if you've included this there, but I remember making a point at Roswell in saying that I hope we don't learn what I call the Brundlefly lesson. And I call the Brundlefly lesson after this old movie, The Fly, where there was this, and you mentioned mad scientist a minute ago, there was a scientist named Seth Brundle, and he was conducting teleportation experiments, and he accidentally had his DNA combined with a common housefly during one of those teleportation experiments. And soon thereafter, he starts becoming this superhuman, a transhumanist dream come true, lightning-quick agility, heightened senses, superhuman power. But then, almost immediately after that, something else starts happening, and he starts transforming into this hideous monster, this insane monster that has to be destroyed. Now, ironically, Jeff